A man I know used to build furniture, not for a living, just on weekends in his garage with the door open and the radio on. He was good at it. He made a bookshelf for his daughter's room that she still has. At some point he stopped. He couldn't tell you when exactly or why. There was no decision. There was just a Saturday that turned into errands and then another one, and eventually the tools sat so long they needed cleaning before they could be used again. And that felt like one more task on a list that was already too long, so the garage stayed closed. That was 6 years ago. Most men have a version of this story, and most of them don't realize what it actually cost them. The things you stop doing for yourself are never the things that feel urgent. That's why they disappear first. Nobody cancels the mortgage payment. Nobody skips the school run. Nobody forgets to show up at work on Monday. Those things have consequences that arrive immediately if you ignore them. But the guitar in the closet, the running shoes by the door, the sketchbook in the drawer, the weekend project you used to lose yourself in for hours, those things don't punish you for skipping them. They just quietly leave. And because there's no alarm, no deadline, no one asking where they went, you don't notice the gap until it's been years. And by then the gap doesn't feel like a gap anymore. It just feels like who you are now. Here's what actually happened though, and this is the part worth paying attention to. You didn't lose interest. You were buried. There is a difference between outgrowing something and being slowly crushed under enough responsibility that you couldn't reach it anymore. Most men don't stop doing the things they love because the love ran out. They stop because every hour got claimed by something that felt more important. The job, the family, the bills, the endless small emergencies of being the person everyone depends on. And eventually the thing you loved started to feel selfish, like a luxury you hadn't earned yet, like something you'd get back to once everything else was handled. But everything else is never handled. That's the trap. There is always another thing, and the longer you wait for a clear opening, the further away the thing you loved gets, until it feels like it belonged to a different person entirely. There's a question worth asking here, and it's not the one you'd expect. The question isn't, why did you stop? You know why you stopped. The question is, what happened to you after you stopped? Because something did happen, even if it was slow enough that you didn't connect the two. The restlessness that showed up, the shorter patience, the sense that every week feels the same even though you're busy from morning to night. The flat grey feeling that isn't quite sadness but isn't quite anything else either. That's not burnout. That's not depression, not necessarily. That's what it feels like when a person cuts off the one part of their life that existed purely for them. The part with no audience, no deadline, no performance review. The part where you weren't a husband or a father or an employee or a provider. You were just a person doing something for no reason other than it made the world feel a little more manageable. When that goes, something in you goes flat, not broken, flat. Like a room with no windows. Everything still works, but nothing breathes. Seneca once observed that people guard their property carefully but waste their time freely, even though time is the one thing that can never be recovered. And what strikes me about that is how precisely it applies here, but not in the way most people read it. The usual interpretation is about productivity. Don't waste time, be efficient. But that's not what he meant. He meant stop giving all of your time to things that don't belong to you. Stop handing every hour to obligations and leaving nothing for the part of your life that is actually yours. The guitar wasn't a waste of time. The garage wasn't a waste of time. The morning run, the weekend project, the thing you did that made you lose track of the clock. That was the least wasted time in your entire week. Everything else was duty. That was the only part that was chosen, and you let it go first, because it was the only thing that wouldn't fight back when you took it away. Nobody is going to give you permission to take it back. That's the other part of this that needs to be said plainly. Your wife won't sit you down and say you seem different since you stopped playing music. Your kids won't notice that you used to disappear into the garage on Saturday mornings and come back lighter. Your boss certainly won't suggest you work less so you can have a hobby. Nobody in your life is tracking the thing you lost because they never saw it as a load-bearing part of who you are. But it was. It is. The things you do for no reason are not extras. They are not rewards you earn after the real work is done. They are the thing that keeps the real work from hollowing you out. And the fact that nobody else sees that doesn't make it less true. It just means the only person who's going to protect that time is you. And before the mind jumps to the usual objections, there is no time. There is too much going on. Maybe when the kids are older, maybe when work calms down, maybe next year. Those aren't reasons. Those are the same sentences you've been saying for 5 years, and they'll still be true in another 5. The conditions will never be perfect. There will never be a clean opening in the schedule that announces itself and says now is the time. You will have to take it. Not a month off, not a sabbatical, an hour, one evening, a week, a Sunday morning before anyone else is awake. That's all it takes to remind yourself that you exist outside of your responsibilities, that there's a version of you underneath all the roles that still knows how to do something for no reason at all. That man with the garage. He opened it again last month, cleaned the tools, swept the floor, didn't build anything, just stood in there for a while with the door open and the radio on. He said it felt strange at first, like visiting a place he used to live. But by the end of the hour, something had shifted. Not fixed, shifted. Like a window cracking open in a room that had been sealed for years. The air was different after that. Not because he built something, because he remembered that he could. That's all this is. Not a transformation, not a reinvention. Just a door you closed that you're allowed to open again. The person who loved that thing is still in there, waiting, not gone, just quiet, the same way everything important gets when you stop paying attention to it.